Welcome to the Shadow of History channel. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out more videos like this one. Warsaw 1940 Nazis forced 35,000 Jews into this tiny walled district. Nearly a third of the city conditions were deadly. By 1941, residents survived on just 1,125 calories daily, leaving 83,000 to die of starvation and rampant disease inside. Pacific Ocean 1983, Tammy Oldham Ashcraft survived 41 days adrift after a hurricane destroyed her yacht and killed her fiancé without an engine or radio. She navigated 1,500 miles to safety using only a sextant and the stars. Washington, D.C., 1983, President Reagan meets Afghan Mujahideen fighters. Over a decade, the CIA funneled $2 billion to these insurgent groups to fight the Soviets funding factions that would eventually evolve into the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Montana, early 1900s, two Blackfeet warriors gaze across the vast landscapes of what is now Glacier National Park. This solemn moment captures a fleeting glimpse of traditional life just as the modern American frontier began to close around them. New Orleans, 1834, firefighters breaking into the LaLaurie mansion discovered a house of horrors. Several enslaved people were found mutilated and chained in the attic. The brutal socialite fled the city, immediately escaping justice for her sadistic crimes. Alabama, 1955, 9 months before Rosa Parks. 15-year-old Claudette Colvin refused to give up her bus seat. Despite her bravery, civil rights leaders overlooked her because she was young, pregnant, and considered too feisty to be a national icon. Houston, 1991, 86-year-old oil tycoon J. Howard Marshall met 23-year-old Anna Nicole Smith at a club, their subsequent marriage and his death. 14 months later, ignited one of the most sensational and bitter inheritance battles in American legal history. Wales, 1993. June and Jennifer Gibbons, the silent twins, spoke only to each other in a secret language for 30 years immediately following Jennifer's sudden, mysterious death. June broke their pact and began speaking freely for the first time. Hollywood, 1920s, American-British actress Bessie Love poses for a portrait during the height of the silent film era. Though small in stature, her expressive performances helped define the aesthetic of early cinema before the transition to talking pictures. United States, 1988. A proud mother visits her son during a lunch break for his kindergarten graduation. This candid snapshot captures the simple, unpolished warmth of family life and working parenthood in the late 80s, long before the digital age. Minnesota, 1913. It is mealtime for the rugged crew at the Scott and Graff Lumber Company. These hard-working lumberjacks pause their dangerous labor to refuel, highlighting the grueling physical demands of the timber industry in the early 20th century. Las Vegas, 1955. Swimmers casually watch a mushroom cloud rise from an atomic test 65 miles away. During this era of atomic tourism, nuclear detonations were treated as public spectacles rather than harbingers of fallout and destruction. Modena, 1959. Children cling to a pulley system to cross a river on their way to school. Since World War II destroyed the local bridges, this precarious chairlift remained the only link connecting the town to the countryside. Stratford-upon-Avon, 1968, a young Helen Mirren stars as Cressida at the Royal Shakespeare Theatre. This early performance in Troilus and Cressida marked the rise of a stage legend who would go on to dominate both British theater and Hollywood. Nevada, 1935. A group of officials poses proudly within one of the massive diversion tunnels of the Hoover Dam. Their small stature against the colossal concrete infrastructure emphasizes the sheer scale of this Depression-era engineering marvel. Kansas, 1903. Two unrelated strangers with nearly identical names and faces ended up in the same prison. The confusion between Will West and William West proved the fallibility of physical measurements and accelerated the adoption of fingerprinting technology. California, 1976. This vintage advertisement showcases Steve Wozniak's Apple I. The machine that launched a revolution sold as a bare circuit board, this primitive device laid the groundwork for the personal computing era that would transform the world. England, 1962, Kate Ward, known locally as Camberley. Kate walks a pack of stray dogs through town, dedicating her life to animal welfare. She rescued over 600 dogs, never turning away a stray in need of a home. France, 1915, inside Notre Dame d'Amiens Cathedral sandbags are stacked high to protect the intricate choir stalls. This desperate measure attempted to shield centuries of religious art from the destructive impact of German shelling during the First World War. Vietnam, 1980s, a farmer tends to his land with the bare wreckage of a B-52 Stratofortress. Looming in the background, the juxtaposition serves as a haunting reminder of how the scars of war remain embedded in the daily landscape. Pennsylvania, 1979, the TMI-2 reactor at 3 Mile Island suffers a partial meltdown. Sparking panic, the tedious cleanup operation began that summer and dragged on for 14 years, permanently altering the public perception of nuclear energy safety in America. Venice Beach, 1979. A roller skater glides along the boardwalk embodying the carefree spirit of the late 70s. This era defined California beach culture, characterized by vibrant fashion disco music and a distinct sense of freedom under the sun. Skies over USA 1940s passengers enjoy dinner aboard a Boeing 307 Stratoliner operated by Pan Am. This pressurized cabin offered a rare luxury representing the golden age of air travel, where flying was an elegant, high-service experience for the wealthy elite. New York City, 1942, crowds gather in Times Square for New Year's Eve, but the mood is somber due to wartime blackouts. The dazzling lights are dimmed, reflecting a nation anxious about the escalating conflict of the Second World War. France, 1908 to 2016. These side-by-side images of Mont Saint-Michel reveal a century of change, while the medieval abbey remains timeless. The surrounding landscape and causeway have evolved, showing how modern engineering attempts to preserve this historic island commune. Eastern Front, 1943. 2 female Soviet snipers smile during a break in combat. These women were part of a lethal force that terrified German troops, proving invaluable to the Red Army's defense during the brutal campaigns of World War II. Iowa, 1942. The real-life models for the painting American Gothic stand beside the iconic artwork. Seeing the dentist and his sister in person demystifies the stern expressions that became a symbol of rural American resilience during the Depression. United States, 1890s, 2 female students study quietly in their dorm room, surrounded by Victorian decor. This rare glimpse into early higher education for women highlights a time when academic independence was a hard-won privilege rather than a standard expectation. Normandy, 1944. A Catholic priest conducts Mass on Omaha Beach just days after D-Day. Amidst the wreckage of war soldiers, pause for spiritual solace, seeking comfort on the very sands where thousands of their comrades had recently fallen. Russia, 1924. Spectators watch a massive game of human chess played in a public square. This Soviet spectacle combined strategy with theatrical performance, using real people as pawns to promote intellectualism and collective order in the new communist state. Washington, D.C., 1963. A young Bill Clinton shakes hands with President John F. Kennedy in the Rose Garden. This brief encounter inspired the teenager to pursue a life in politics, eventually leading him to the same office 3 decades later. Pompeii, 1897. Archaeologists unearth a set of surgical instruments from the 1st century in a physician's home. These preserved bronze tools reveal the surprisingly advanced yet terrifyingly painful medical practices used in the Roman Empire before the eruption. New York City, 1916. Newspaper boys cool off in a park fountain on a hot April day. These young workers, often the primary earners for their families, find a brief moment of childhood joy amidst the grind of street life. Rome, 1515, Michelangelo's sculpture of Moses features a tiny contracted muscle in the forearm. Anatomically correct only when the pinky finger is lifted, this detail proves the artist's obsession with realism and his profound understanding of the human body. Naples, 1942. Italian children play in the streets, seemingly oblivious to the war around them. Their resilience highlights the innocence of youth, even as their city faced severe food shortages and frequent Allied bombing raids during the conflict. New York, 1938, rows of patients fill a hall at Pilgrim State Mental Hospital at its peak. This facility was the largest of its kind in the world, warehousing thousands in conditions that eventually sparked major psychiatric reform movements. United States, 1970s, a baby sits in a flimsy hooked-over car seat that offers zero crash protection. This terrifying design serves as a stark reminder of how safety standards for children have drastically improved over the last 50 years. Great Britain, 1930s, a group of women pose confidently on their motorcycles, defying the gender norms of the pre-war era. These riders embraced the freedom of the open road, signaling a shifting cultural attitude toward female independence and mobility. United States, 1970s, teenage girls show off the era's bold fashion trends with bell-bay bottoms, vibrant patterns, and feathered hair. These outfits capture the distinct aesthetic of a decade defined by self-expression and a departure from the conservative styles of the past. Netherlands, 1979, Philips unveils the optical digital audio disc known as the CD. This shiny plastic innovation promised perfect sound quality and durability, signaling the beginning of the end for cassette tapes and vinyl records in the music industry. United Kingdom, 1930s, a family enjoys a leisurely drive through the countryside in their vintage automobile before the chaos of war. These peaceful weekend excursions were a cherished pastime for the few lucky enough to own a car. London, 1972, schoolgirls take to the streets placards in hand, demanding an end to corporal punishment. Their protest against caning marked a turning point in student rights, challenging the traditional discipline methods of the British education system. Auvillers, France, 1916. A British crew operates a Vickers machine gun. Amidst the devastation of the Somme gas masks at the ready, they defend their position in a battle that would become synonymous with the horrors of trench warfare. Unknown location, circa 1900 carcasses hang openly in the humid air of a busy butcher shop before the age of refrigeration without modern cooling meat had to be sold and consumed quickly, a stark contrast to today's sterile supermarkets. Unknown location, mid-1850s, a bride poses solemnly in her wedding gown for a rare daguerreotype portrait. In this era, exposure times were long and smiles were fleeting, capturing a hauntingly beautiful stillness that defies the passage of time. Athens, Greece, 1875 and 2022, the ancient Parthenon stands resilient across centuries, though the surroundings have changed dramatically. While the ruins remain a testament to antiquity, the sprawling modern city now engulfs the historic hill, blending the mythic past with the present. Atlantic City, New Jersey, 1924, Mary Catherine Campbell beams as the reigning Miss America, as the only woman to win the title twice. Her victory captured the glamour and evolving standards of beauty during the Roaring '20s. Cass Lake, Minnesota, 1915, Chief John Smith, a Chippewa elder, gazes into the camera with a face etched by time, claiming to be 137 years old. His deeply lined skin tells the story of a century of change. San Diego, USA, 1918. A soldier at Camp Kearney tests his gas mask. By peeling onions, this humorous yet practical drill prepared troops for the stinging tear gas of the Western Front, proving that even kitchen duties could be dangerous. Wes Orascani, 1950s, a sailor, proudly displays his intricate tattoos, a visual logbook of his travels at sea, long before ink became mainstream. These designs were badges of honor marking ports of call and the unique brotherhood of the Navy. Buffalo, New York, 1901, President William McKinley ascends the stairs of the Temple of Music, moments before tragedy strikes unaware of the assassin waiting inside. This photograph captures the final confident steps of a leader walking into history's dark embrace. Unknown location, 1900s, rows of serious. Children sit with hands folded in a crowded classroom in an era of strict discipline and rote learning. This photo freezes a moment of quiet obedience before the bell rang for recess. Schloebitten, Poland, 1860 and 2009, once a Grand Prussian estate, the palace stands in ruin after the devastation of war and time. The contrast between its former glory and its current skeletal remains serves as a melancholic reminder of history's turbulent currents. Port Washington, New York, 1942, artists diligently paint propaganda posters to boost morale for the war effort. Their brushstrokes crafted the visual language of patriotism, turning canvas and paint into powerful weapons against the Axis powers. Seattle, USA, 1973. A man plugs in an electric AMC Gremlin during the height of the oil crisis years. Before the electric vehicle revolution, this rare experiment sought to bypass the gas pumps, offering a glimpse into a battery-powered future. United States, 1970s, a snapshot captures a questionable trend that seemed brilliant at the time, whether it was dangerous lawn darts or carpeted bathrooms. This era was defined by experimental choices that leave modern observers scratching their heads. Kennedy Space Center, USA, 1969. Wernher von Braun stands before the colossal Saturn V rocket as the architect of the Apollo program. His controversial past yielded to engineering genius, propelling humanity toward the lunar surface and changing our view of the stars. Unknown location, 1974. Young women showcase the eclectic fashion of the era, sporting minis, high-waisted cords, and buffalo sandals. This bold mix of textures and hemlines defined a generation that was unafraid to break the rules of style. New York City, USA, 1962, Marilyn Monroe dazzles the crowd at President Kennedy's birthday gala. In her shimmering dress, she delivered a breathless performance that fueled rumors and cemented her status as the ultimate icon of Hollywood glamour. Unknown location, 1887. Prince Peter of Saxe-Coburg stands stiffly beside his grandparents, Emperor Pedro IV of Brazil. This portrait captures the twilight of the Brazilian monarchy, just 2 years before a military coup would force the royal family into exile. Naples, Italy, 1943, an overwhelmed Italian woman kisses the hand of an American soldier as troops liberate the city. This emotional gesture signifies the immense relief and gratitude of a Bowen population finally freed from the grip of fascism. London, circa 1926. 6 daring workers descend a single rope on the Albert Bridge with no safety harnesses in sight. This vertigo-inducing display highlights the perilous working conditions accepted by laborers who built and maintained the city's skyline. London, 1914. Emmeline Pankhurst is physically carried away by police outside Buckingham Palace. Her arrest while trying to petition the king became a rallying cry for the suffragette movement, illustrating the fierce struggle women faced to win the right to vote. United States, early 1910s, a child poses with a postal worker ready to be shipped via parcel post. For a brief, bizarre period, parents legally mailed their children to relatives, testing the limits of the postal service before regulations banned the practice. United States, 1980s, a school bus erupts with the plastic masks and homemade costumes of Halloween before safety concerns sanitize the holiday. These chaotic, spirited celebrations were a rite of passage for children eager to trick or treat. Unknown location, 1958, Eartha Kitt sips honey to soothe her voice before taking the stage. This quiet ritual prepared the legendary singer to deliver her signature per capturing the discipline behind a sultry persona that captivated audiences worldwide. Washington, D.C., 1935. Children play in a squalid backyard just within sight of the Capitol Dome. This stark juxtaposition exposes the deep economic divide of the Great Depression, where poverty thrived in the shadow of the nation's highest seat of power. New York City, 1920. A police officer hangs suspended above the chaotic bustle of Times Square in an era of rapid urbanization. This unique vantage point allowed law enforcement to oversee the traffic and crowds defining the Roaring Twenties. Unknown location circa 1902, lumberjacks pose proudly with a colossal fir tree, dwarfed by its massive circumference. One man lies in the cut, itself illustrating the sheer scale of the old-growth forests that were felled to build a growing nation. United States, 1940s, a child naps peacefully at the Kaiser Shipyard's Child Care Center as women flooded the workforce to build ships for the war. These pioneering facilities provided crucial support, reshaping the concept of working motherhood on the home front. City Point, Virginia, circa 1864. Nurses and soldiers gather inside a canvas hospital tent during the Civil War amidst the carnage. These makeshift wards became centers of critical care where medical staff fought infection and trauma with limited resources. Tokyo, Japan, 1960. The Tokyo Tower rises alone above a low skyline long before skyscrapers dominated the view. This snapshot captures a city on the cusp of an economic miracle, transitioning from post-war recovery to a futuristic metropolis. Constantinople, 1912. Pedestrians navigate a busy street in the twilight years of the Ottoman Empire just before the city became Istanbul. This scene reflects a rich tapestry of culture and history, standing on the brink of modern transformation. Ponema, Minnesota, circa 1908. An Ojibwe woman stands with quiet dignity in a tea photograph by Roland Reed. Her traditional attire and serene expression offer a glimpse into indigenous life and resilience during a period of intense cultural assimilation. Los Angeles, California, 1928. A librarian delivers stories to the sick directly from a public library bookmobile. This compassionate outreach program ensured that even the bedridden could escape into the pages of a book, proving the enduring power of literature. New York City, 1900s. Children swarm a crowded urban playground, finding joy amidst the tenements in the dense city blocks. These designated spaces provided a rare and necessary outlet for play, social interaction, and safety away from the dangerous streets. Budapest, Hungary, 1956. An anti-communist revolutionary conceals a Molotov cocktail behind his back. This tense moment encapsulates the desperation and bravery of freedom fighters challenging Soviet control, armed only with homemade weapons and an unyielding desire for independence. Eastern Front, 1943, 11 volunteers from Tuva joined the Red Army's tank regiment to fight the Axis far from their remote homeland. These brave soldiers pledged their lives to the Soviet cause, highlighting the diverse coalition that battled fascism. Oklahoma City, USA, 1900, the legendary Apache Chief Geronimo poses with his nieces while living as a prisoner of war, even in captivity. His piercing gaze reflects the fierce spirit of a warrior who resisted expansion for decades. New York City, 1983, young men pose with a massive boombox in the gritty subway system. This image captures the golden age of hip-hop culture, where music and style became a powerful form of expression underground. United States, 1904, a father strives for dignity while a mother smiles broadly in this family portrait in an era of segregation and hardship. Their expressions reveal a profound resilience and the enduring warmth of family bonds. Houston, Texas, 1970s, an aerial view reveals a downtown dominated by asphalt, with nearly 3/4 of the land dedicated to parking. This urban design prioritized the automobile above all else, creating a concrete landscape devoid of pedestrian life. Hollywood, USA, 1978. An actor plays a high school student in the movie Grease, clearly looking older than his teenage character. This casting choice became a hallmark of the film, adding a quirky charm to the nostalgic musical classic. Belgium, 1914. Soldiers of the Cyclist Battalion patrol the roads at the onset of the Great War, before trench warfare stagnated. The front, these mobile units provided essential reconnaissance, using bicycles to quickly navigate the flat terrain. United Kingdom, 1873. 12-year-old Henry Leonard Stevenson stares into the camera for a mugshot, sentenced to prison for burglary. His young face exposes the harsh reality of the Victorian justice system, which treated children as hardened criminals. Hiroshima, Japan, 1945. Aerial photographs compare the dense city grid before and the scorched wasteland after the atomic bomb. The terrifying transformation from urban center to ash in a single instant redefined the destructive potential of warfare forever. New York City, 2001. Police officers regroup at a Burger King used as a temporary command post near Ground Zero. In the dust and chaos following the attacks, everyday locations became critical hubs for emergency response and recovery efforts. United States, circa 1918, pilot Paul Alden Smith sits in the open cockpit of his Aeromarine 39 with leather helmet and goggles. He represents the dawn of aviation, when flying was a daring adventure into the open skies. Soviet Union, 1940s. The 10 Lysenko siblings posed together a miraculous sight after World War II against overwhelming odds. Every brother who went to the front returned home safely, a rare story of survival amidst a generation lost to conflict. Florence, Italy, 1940s. Michelangelo's David stands encased in a protective brick silo to save the masterpiece from Allied bombing and artillery fire. Curators entombed the marble giant, ensuring the Renaissance icon would survive the devastation of modern war. Atlantic Ocean, 1942. Poon Lim drifts alone on a life raft after his ship was torpedoed, surviving on rainwater and raw fish for 133 days. His ordeal remains one of the greatest survival stories in maritime history. Unknown location, circa 1910s. A man humorously cradles a donkey in his lap for a novelty photo titled "Rock-a-Bye Baby." This bizarre vintage snapshot reflects the playful and often surreal sense of humor found in early 20th century photography. Philippines, 1935. A tiny kitten sits atop a giant Victoria water lily pad, floating gently on the water. The immense strength of the leaf supports the animal, creating a whimsical scene that highlights the wonders of tropical botany. Kinshasa, Zaire, 1974. Muhammad Ali dodges a blow from George Foreman during the rumble in the jungle using his rope-a-dope strategy. Ali exhausted his powerful opponent to regain the heavyweight title in one of boxing's most legendary upsets. Beijing, China, 1989. A lone protester stands defiant before a column of tanks leaving Tiananmen Square armed with only shopping bags. His passive resistance became an enduring symbol of courage against authoritarian force in the face of brutal suppression. Washington, D.C., 1917. A woman pickets outside the White House, demanding the right to vote, facing arrest and public scorn. These silent sentinels maintained their vigil, pressuring the president to finally support the 19th Amendment for women's suffrage. Paris, France, 1955. A gargoyle gazes out from the towers of Notre Dame over the Parisian skyline, decades before the tragic fire. This view captures the timeless romance of the city watched over by the cathedral's stone guardians. Murmansk, Russia, 1941. A reindeer stands dazed as smoke rises from bombing raids in the background, caught in the crossfire of the Arctic front. This poignant image juxtaposes innocent nature against the industrial violence of the Second World War. Houston, Texas, 1980, Freddie Mercury rides atop the shoulders of a man dressed as Darth Vader during the height of Queen's fame. This theatrical encore merged rock and roll excess with pop culture iconography, thrilling the stadium crowd. United States, circa 1955, James Dean poses with his signature brooding look just months before his death as a symbol of teenage disillusionment. His brief career left an indelible mark on cinema, immortalizing him as the eternal rebel without a cause. Germany, 1958, Elvis Presley smiles in his army uniform, trading his guitar for a rifle. At the peak of his fame, the king of rock and roll served as a regular soldier, earning respect for refusing special treatment. Sudbury, Canada, 1953, a young child with polio learns to walk using parallel bars in the terrifying era before the Savfk vaccine. These rehabilitation centers were places of struggle and hope, giving paralyzed children a chance at mobility. Los Angeles, USA, 1930s comedian Harold Lloyd performs a handstand on the edge of a skyscraper, known for doing his own stunts. He blended physical comedy with genuine danger, thrilling audiences in the golden age of silent film. Hawaii, USA, 1971, astronaut Harrison Schmitt drives a lunar rover prototype across volcanic terrain. The desolate landscape of the Big Island provided a perfect geological match for the moon, allowing the crew to practice for their upcoming Apollo mission. Paris, France, circa 1905. Mata Hari poses in an exotic costume for a postcard before her execution. As a spy during the Great War, she was Europe's most famous dancer, captivating audiences with her mystery and allure. United Kingdom, 1945, Princess Elizabeth leans over a truck engine, hands covered in grease. As a mechanic in the Auxiliary Territorial Service, the future queen showed her dedication to the war effort, breaking royal protocol to serve her country. Unknown location, 1870s, a young woman gazes softly from a sepia-toned photograph. Her intricate hairstyle and high-collared dress reflect the strict Victorian fashion, capturing a moment of personal history preserved on paper for over a century. United Kingdom, 1850, a former soldier stares into the lens 35 years after the Battle of Waterloo. While his age remains unknown, the weary lines on his face reveal a life shaped by the harsh realities of poverty and survival. Milwaukee, 1917, mechanics in training gather at the Harley-Davidson School for Motorcycle Mechanics with World War I raging. These skilled individuals were preparing to maintain the motorcycles that would soon prove vital for dispatch riders on the front lines of Europe. New York, 1970, supermodel Margot Hemingway epitomizes the carefree glamour of the disco era as the granddaughter of Ernest Hemingway. She became a fashion icon, gracing magazine covers with a striking presence that defined a generation of American style. Texas, 1955. Hollywood icons James Dean and Elizabeth Taylor share a relaxed moment at the Texas State Fair during the filming of Giant. This candid snapshot captures their undeniable chemistry just months before Dean's tragic death shocked the world. United Kingdom, 1930s, a family enjoys a leisurely afternoon ride in a classic convertible. This peaceful scene captures the quiet domesticity of British life in the interwar period, just before the turmoil of the coming global conflict would change everything. Guadeloupe, 1920. Rare footage reveals daily life along the tropical coast of this French Caribbean archipelago. These unique recordings provide a precious glimpse into the island's colonial history, showcasing local customs and the untouched beauty of the shoreline a century ago. Wyoming, 1885. A steam train creeps across the precarious Dale Creek Bridge, an iron structure so dangerous that engineers slowed locomotives to 4 miles per hour, the windswept crossing remained a terrifying but necessary link in the Transcontinental Railroad. England, 1937. Weary workers wash off the grime of the day at a coal miner's bath in Chester-le-Street. These communal showers marked a significant improvement in hygiene and dignity for men who spent their lives toiling in the dark underground. Siberia, 1800s. This formidable spiked leather armor was designed for hunting bears in the Russian wilderness. The terrifying suit turned the hunter into a walk-in weapon, offering protection from claws while ensuring any embrace would be deadly for the beast. USA, 1950s. A woman undergoes the elaborate process of getting a permanent wave hooked up to a menacing machine of heated curlers and wires. She endures the heat to achieve the tight, perfectly sculpted curls that defined mid-century beauty standards. Chicago, 1989. Liam Neeson, Bill Paxton, and Patrick Swayze stand together on the set of the action thriller Next of Kin. This gritty film brought together a unique trio of actors to tell a tale of hillbilly justice in the urban jungle. Cornwall, 1969. Two young girls laugh as they gallop at full speed riding sheep across a farm. This playful and unusual moment captures the innocent, carefree spirit of rural childhood summers in the English countryside during the late 60s. New York, 1978. Acting legends Meryl Streep and Robert De Niro share a quiet moment together, captured during the era of The Deer Hunter. This image showcases two of cinema's greatest talents at the dawn of their illustrious careers. West Virginia, 1938. A coal miner, still covered in the dust of the mine, relaxes on a porch with his family. Despite the hardship of his labor, this tender moment highlights the resilience and close-knit bonds of Appalachian mining communities. Ireland, 1910. Weather-beaten fishermen pause for a portrait on the rugged Irish coast. Their rough clothing and steady gazes reflect a life dedicated to the Atlantic, enduring the harsh elements to sustain their communities long before modern industrial fishing. Unknown location, 1910. A mother and daughter pose for a formal portrait in Edwardian attire. The intimacy of their posture and the soft lighting capture a timeless maternal bond preserved forever in the sepia tones of early 20th century photography. Philadelphia, 1839. Robert Cornelius sits frozen for 15 minutes before a makeshift camera. By uncovering the lens and running into the frame, he created the world's first self-portrait, capturing a ghostly image that birthed the modern era of photography. Berlin, 1961. Residents of West Berlin lift their children above the newly built wall so grandparents in the East can see them. This heartbreaking display of separation underscores the human tragedy inflicted by the Iron Curtain's sudden division of families. Washington, 1940s. A group of young boys poses together, capturing the camaraderie of American youth, with World War II looming or underway. Their innocent faces represent a generation soon to be shaped by global conflict and rapid social change. Paris, 1925. Fashionable women enjoy coffee on a terrace during the height of the Roaring Twenties. This candid scene embodies the liberation and cafe culture of Paris, where art style and conversation flourished in the wake of the Great War. Florida, 1913. A 4-year-old newsboy stands barefoot on a Tampa street selling papers. This poignant image by Lewis Hine helped expose the harsh reality of child labor in America, eventually leading to reforms that protected the nation's youngest workers. Hollywood, 1968. Margaret Hamilton and Judy Garland reunite decades after The Wizard of Oz, far from their on-screen rivalry as the Wicked Witch and Dorothy. This warm embrace reveals the enduring friendship between two legends of cinema history. Detroit, 1912. A man in a heavy fur coat poses proudly in an early automobile clutching a cat. This quirky snapshot from the dawn of the automotive age highlights the novelty of car ownership and the eccentric personalities of early drivers. Hollywood, 1998. Jamie Lee Curtis and Jennifer Love Hewitt share the spotlight at a red carpet event, bringing together the scream queens of two different generations. This photo captures late 90s horror royalty at the peak of their popularity. London, 1980, the cast of The Empire Strikes Back gathers for a group photo. Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill stand alongside Chewbacca and Darth Vader, celebrating the release of the sequel that solidified Star Wars as a cultural phenomenon. Chicago, 1936. A vertical parking system lifts cars into the air in downtown Chicago. This innovative solution to urban congestion demonstrates the city's forward thinking, engineering attempting to manage the growing number of automobiles in limited city spaces long before modern garages. California, 1862, downtown Sacramento lies submerged under floodwaters that turn the streets into canals. The catastrophe forced the city to embark on a massive project, raising the street level by 10 feet to protect the capital from future devastation. USA, 1890, Eli Bowen, the legless acrobat, and Charles Tripp, the armless wonder pose on a bicycle. These famous sideshow performers captivated audiences with their teamwork, turning their physical differences into a celebration of dexterity, resilience, and brotherhood. Mississippi, 1906, the steamboats Belle of Calhoun and Belle of the Benz Dock at the Vicksburg Landing. This busy river scene captures the golden age of paddle wheelers, which served as the economic lifeblood of the Mississippi River trade routes. Say 1935, a man tests out a pair of kangaroo jumps, rebound shoes. These peculiar spring-loaded inventions promise to add a bounce to every step, representing the whimsical and experimental spirit of fitness gadgets during the Great Depression. New York, 1970s. Children splash around in a swimobile, a mobile pool brought to city neighborhoods. This innovative community program provided a cool escape for kids in concrete jungles, bringing the joy of summer swimming directly to their doorsteps. USA, 1969. An 8-year-old boy peers through binoculars at the moon, searching for the astronauts he saw on TV. This personal memory captures the wonder felt by millions who looked up that night, knowing humanity had finally touched another world. Mexico City, 1969, Apollo 11. Astronauts Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins wear sombreros while greeting a massive crowd. Their global goodwill tour celebrated the moon landing not just as an American victory, but as a triumph for all mankind. Monaco, 1968. James Garner drives a Formula car equipped with a camera for the movie Grand Prix. This revolutionary filming technique placed audiences directly in the driver's seat, capturing the visceral speed and danger of Formula One racing like never before. Florida, 1969. The massive Saturn V rocket roars off the launch pad, carrying the Apollo 11 crew, burning millions of pounds of fuel. This technological marvel began a historic 3-day journey that would land the first humans on the lunar surface. Oklahoma, 1905. A woman stands stoically with 2 children in the rural community of Polka Grove. Their simple clothing and serious expressions reflect the austere, hard-working life of families settling the American frontier at the turn of the century. France, 1950's Brigitte Bardot captivates the camera with her signature effortless style as a symbol of the sexual revolution and French cinema. Her presence in this photo defines the allure and rebellious spirit of the post-war European cultural explosion. Sweden, 1880, a bride stands adorned in a traditional floral crown and dark wedding dress. This solemn portrait preserves the intricate folk customs of 19th century Scandinavia, where bridal attire often reflected regional heritage rather than the white gown trend. New York, 1914 painters dangle precariously from suspended wires high above the Brooklyn Bridge with no safety harnesses. These fearless workers maintain the steel cables of the iconic landmark, demonstrating the grit required to build and keep the city running. England, 1908. Women pause from their work among the heavy machinery of a Lancashire cotton mill. These industrial workers form the backbone of the British textile industry, enduring long hours and deafening noise to fuel the global fabric trade. England, 1937. A coal miner and his wife share a quiet moment in their modest home. The contrast between his soot-stained work clothes and the domestic setting highlights the pervasive reality of mining life that followed workers from the pit to the hearth. London, 1930, a policeman inspects the ankles of women hidden behind a curtain during a beauty contest. This bizarre competition focused solely on legs, reflecting the conservative yet playful standards of modesty and attraction in pre-war British society. United Kingdom, 1944, the Gloucester Meteor. The Allies' first operational jet fighter sits on the tarmac. This groundbreaking aircraft signaled the dawn of the jet, age-shifting aerial warfare from propellers to turbines and changing the speed of combat forever. Giza date unknown, the Great Pyramids rise from the desert sand, standing as eternal monuments to ancient engineering. These colossal tombs of the pharaohs have fascinated travelers for millennia, enduring as the last surviving wonder of the ancient world. Greece, 1940, a shoemaker crafts slippers in his workshop as war looms over Europe. This scene of traditional craftsmanship highlights the persistence of daily life and local trade in Athens, even as the shadow of World War II approached the nation. Scotland, 1792, perched on a cliff Culzean Castle, stands as a masterpiece of architect Robert Adam, transformed from a basic fortress into an elegant country house for the Earl of Cassilis. It remains a stunning example of 18th century Scottish aristocratic grandeur. Brazil, 1950. The U.S. national soccer team gathers for a photo before the World Cup. This underdog squad would soon shock the world by defeating England 1-0 in a legendary upset, marking one of the greatest moments in American soccer history. Space date unknown. A NASA photograph captures the space shuttle piercing the atmosphere, leaving a trail of exhaust against the curve of the Earth. This breathtaking angle reveals the sheer power and vertical ambition of humanity's journey into the cosmos. Jamaica, 1955, Grace Kelly relaxes on a tropical vacation captured by photographer Howell Conant. This candid shot reveals the Hollywood star's natural elegance and charm just a year before she would leave acting to become the Princess of Monaco. Hong Kong, 1967-2021. A split image reveals the dramatic transformation of Hong Kong's skyline. Once a low-rise colonial port, the city has erupted into a vertical metropolis of neon and glass, illustrating its rapid economic rise and urban density over 50 years. Greece, 1915, thousands of wine barrels and bottles are stacked at a French army depot in Lemnos before the disastrous Battle of Gallipoli. These supplies were crucial for morale, ensuring soldiers had their daily ration amidst the harsh conditions of war. California, 1934. 4 young women play a game of volleyball while balancing on high stilts at Venice Beach. This acrobatic display of athleticism and fun captures the quirky, entertainment-focused culture that has always defined the California coastline. Moscow, 1983. A painting depicts Fidel Castro embracing cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin. This artwork symbolizes the strong ideological and political bond between Cuba and the Soviet Union, celebrating 2 of the communist world's most recognizable heroes during the Cold War. France, 1915. A British soldier retrieves bandages from a kit strapped to a trained dog. These mercy dogs navigated no man's land to bring supplies to the wounded, serving as vital four-legged lifesavers amidst the chaos of trench warfare. Tibet 1879, a Tibetan princess poses in elaborate traditional dress and heavy jewelry. This rare historical portrait offers a glimpse into the secluded aristocracy of the Himalayas, preserving the rich cultural heritage of a kingdom that remained largely closed to the West. New Jersey, 1933. Captain Al Khan stands beside a massive taxidermied manta ray caught off the coast, weighing 5,000 pounds. This devilfish became a sensational tourist attraction, representing the era's fascination with the mysteries and monsters of the deep ocean. Germany, 1985-2018, a composite image contrasts a gray-divided Berlin street with its modern, vibrant counterpart. This visual timeline illustrates the incredible recovery and reunification of the city, transforming from a Cold War checkpoint into a bustling European capital. France, 1903, Maurice Garin, a chimney sweep turned cyclist, poses as the winner of the first Tour de France. His victory in this grueling race laid the foundation for what would become the world's most prestigious and challenging cycling competition. Ottoman Empire, 1873. An Armenian priest, a Muslim mullah, and a Greek priest stand together in Konya. This powerful image captures a time of coexistence within the diverse Ottoman Empire, showing religious leaders sharing a space despite their theological differences. USA 1970s, a beige rotary dial phone hangs on a wall, a staple of 20th century communication. This analog device represents an era when making a call required patience and physical connection long before touchscreens and mobile networks took over. Berlin, 1967. A young boy plays in the dirt while East German soldiers watch from atop the Berlin Wall. This chilling juxtaposition highlights the loss of innocence as a child's playground exists in the literal shadow of armed geopolitical tension.